All right. Welcome, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the California Pro Bono Portal. What's new and what's next? Before we get started, I wanted to go over a couple of logistics. In order to turn on or off the live captions, you can press the button with the CC symbol at the bottom of the screen. This session will be recorded and will be uploaded to the LAAC website within 1 week. And please feel free to use the chat function or the Q&A function to ask your questions. We'll also have a poll near the end of this training, and I'll be posting a link to the materials if you'd like to follow along in the chat. And I will hand this off to our lovely presenters. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mahamsher Asif from Inland Counties Legal Services. Thank you for joining us today. First of all, we appreciate um, your attendance to learn more about the portal if you haven't heard much about it, and for those of you who are returning to the portal, coming to learn more about some of the new features that we have and that we will be rolling out in the next few months. Like I said, my name is Maham Asif. I'm a pro bono coordinator with Inland Counties Legal Services. And before I continue, I will actually hand it off to my co-presenter, Victoria, so she can introduce herself.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. Like Maham said, my name is Victoria Pan. I'm a project manager with A2J Tech. We are B Corp certified corporation. We are dedicated to using technology to bridge the access to justice gap, and we are the developers behind the portal. So I'm really excited to show you some of the new features later on. But first, I'll kick it off to Maham again to talk about the current state of the portal.
Thank you. So before I even begin with our presentation today and giving, sort of a roadmap of what we'll be covering, I actually also wanted to thank LAAC for co-hosting with us today. I realized as I was preparing for this presentation that this is the second one that we've done with LAAC regarding the portal. LAAC co-hosted with us back in November, I believe, on a pro bono portal basics. And so it's really sort of gladdening to see them co-host again in this presentation, which kind of covers the work we've done since that time. So thank you to LAAC for co-hosting with us. The objectives for today, we're going to talk a little bit about the portal, just some numbers that I'd like to share out as to the growth that we've seen. I would also like to touch upon a portal toolkit that ICLS in specific, but also our portal advisory committee has worked on. This is a toolkit where we wanted to just memorialize the way how the portal can be solidified as part of your pro bono recruitment processes and what we're doing at ICLS. And that's really helped us make it a part of our recruitment strategy. And then I'll hand it back off to Victoria, who's going to talk about some of the new features that A2J Tech has developed over the last few months, and then what they're currently working on. And we also have some items that we'd love feedback on as to what you'd like to see as as to features that we should build out as we progress with this project. Next slide, Victoria. Thank you. So this is just a few numbers that I wanted to throw out there as to the growth the portal has seen just in this first quarter of 2026. We've had more than 250 new volunteers register. There have been 200 expressions of interest in the posting, the opportunities that have been posted. So, people are actively reviewing the opportunities and indicating interest in what's there, hopefully connecting our volunteers to legal aid organization and opportunities where those volunteers can assist with. And we've also had over 100 volunteer postings. So there have been 100 discrete opportunities that we've posted within just the first quarter of this year. And I think that that's a great sign to show that, people are still coming to the website, still using it to find opportunities. And uh, it's just impressive, really. I mean, I guess that's tooting my horn a little bit. I'm a very small part of the group that's done this work, so I feel like I can toot their horn. And they've worked really hard on it and really advertised and done a lot of outreach, and I think these numbers really reflect it. I would say that the only caveat, oh, I guess one of the things I could say is that it is outpacing sort of the numbers from 2024 and 2025 as to each of these categories, meaning we're still really growing. A caveat to that, though, is I think we had a lot of volunteers express interest in the aftermath of the 2025 wildfires. And during that time, we did get a lot of volunteers, which is amazing. And I think that's also a sign of the viability of this portal, and its usefulness that so many people indicated interest just in that short period of time after the the wildfires happened. Next screen. Thank you. The next two slides are kind of just going to cover some things that I thought were really interesting data about the portal and the volunteers who are registering. This first bar actually shows the practice areas of interest when volunteers register for the portal. So, a little bit more context. When volunteers register, they can indicate what areas of law they have interest in volunteering in. And this is the bar chart that kind of details that. And I'm sure it's probably a little bit hard to see, so I can just read off what the top 5 of them are. And it's civil rights, discrimination, and language access is the first of them. The second one is disaster preparedness and response. The third is small business and nonprofit, immigration, and then housing and real property. So that's just some information I think that's probably of interest to especially our legal aid partners out there who are posting opportunities, just to kind of give you a sense of the opportunities that individuals are looking for when they do register. Just, something to keep in mind as you're preparing and drafting your own opportunities. Next slide. And this is a chart that's slightly different to the first one that I just displayed. This is actually a chart that displays what actual areas, practice areas, volunteers indicate or express interest in when they sign up for a volunteer opportunity. So, if you think about it, when a volunteer is perusing our website, when they're perusing the portal and they're actually indicating interest in posted opportunities, what practice areas do those opportunities fall in? And again, the top 5 here are housing and real property, small business and nonprofit. The third one is civil rights, discrimination, language access. The fourth one is guardianship or conservatorship, and the fifth one is domestic violence. And as I was looking at the two graphs, one of the things that I found really interesting is that they actually do kind of match up. So the first 5, when individuals register, they actually indicate interest in volunteering in, several of these categories. They are interested in housing and real property, small business, and the civil rights opportunities. And it's it also seems that those are the actual opportunities they will gravitate towards when they're actually expressing interest in uh, an opportunity itself. Um, and another thing that I just like to point out, it's a little bit harder to see here. Hopefully, when you can review the slides, you'll see that each bar has a color coded section for what type of volunteer is expressing interest in what kind of opportunities. So, for example, if you look at that first one with housing and real property, the types of volunteers indicating interest in that are mostly attorneys. And that's true across the board just because of obviously the nature of our volunteers and their profession. But you can see that uh, there are certain types where law school students will also gravitate towards, again, housing, as well as, another large one would probably be something like the DV clinic. So just a an area, just a chart that can maybe help you kind of figure out which opportunities might be appropriate for or what kind of volunteers might be appropriate for your opportunities, what you're likely to who might indicate interest in the opportunities that you are posting. Um, Next slide. Yes, so this is just what I was referring to as the portal toolkit. So this is something that ICLS had been working on throughout the last year as uh, we sort of made the portal a part of our pro bono recruitment process. We wanted a way to memorialize it, to a make it one of the main ways in which we recruit pro bono volunteers, because we really did see the value of working with the portal to recruit. It's a great way to have that information on our website, as well as be able to get volunteers through the portal. And so this is just a process that we have started at ICLS that to make sure that we don't drop the ball, that we are keeping track of all the volunteers that we are gaining, through the portal. And so what we have done is, we have an onboarding process that is mainly run by one of our legal assistants. She works with myself and our director, Matt Kukuzaki, to make sure that we are responding to all the portal or the uh, expressions of interest that we get on our volunteer opportunities. So what our legal assistant will do is she makes sure when she gets that email to indicate that someone is interested in an opportunity, that she replies within a couple of days. She will make sure to log each of those interests in an Excel sheet that she has going, so that she's able to keep track of who she's contacted, and what opportunity they've indicated interest in. She also takes the time at that point to review the profile for that particular volunteer. There are several ways in the portal, as well as through the email that you receive when someone's indicated interest, to review their profile. And that can give you some information about the candidate, just to make sure that they are appropriate for the volunteer opportunity that you have posted. It's a good time to check their bar license if you need to check, more information about them, just to see if they are an appropriate candidate. She'll be the one to set up the introductory meeting. She's she has her system in which, if they are an attorney or a paralegal, she'll usually set them up with, Matt Kukuzaki, the director, or one of the other pro bono attorneys on our staff, so that they can make that introductory meeting. She also has a system where, if they are students, because that's a large number of individuals who will express interest, she has a system where she can send them information about our student programming, and also connect them to our managing attorney, who deals with all student programming. Once we've set up that introductory meeting, that's the time where we share all our policies, discuss the case with the volunteer, if it does seem like something they'd be interested in working on, and it's a good match. And then we just make sure that we have a lot of support for them afterwards. This is, of course, probably not different than what you have going in your pro bono management practice anyway. Just making sure that you're checking in regularly with them once they've become volunteers, and then obviously recognizing their contributions, even if not on a big scale. One of the things that I've found really helpful in sort of getting repeat volunteers, whether they come from the portal or through other means, is when if they've worked on a petition and they've provided us with that brief service, and then they're no longer involved, but then as we carry that case forward, if that petition is granted, I'll try to jot them off a quick email to let them know that, that they were successful with the petition that they've prepared for us. And I've found that many of them, many a times that can lead to them coming back and being interested in volunteering with us again, especially since they've had that success there. Next slide, please. Just going back to the portal toolkit that we've created, which of course we can also, I should also just say that it is a document that we don't have right here today, but we can share out with you. I believe that if you respond to the email that LAAC will send you with the slides and let them know that you're interested in the portal toolkit, they can let us know and we can share that out with you guys then. I haven't shared it broadly because I recognize that it may not be of interest to all of our attendees today. Just again, more about what you'll find in the portal toolkit is just some of the best practices of posting to the portal and keeping track of all the interest that you may receive. Designating an administrator, someone who's primarily responsible for managing the posts, posting the opportunities. We found that makes a lot of difference, just so that there's always a clear line of communication of who will be handling it. Like I said, on our team, it's primarily our legal assistant who will keep track of those posts or emails indicating interest, and she's the one who will set up the meetings for our attorneys to follow up with to actually set up the actual volunteer opportunity and make sure that our volunteer has the materials and the training that they need in order to move ahead with the opportunity. And so just some ideas about how to make sure that you get interest, posting clear opportunities. This, I think, is actually something where the portal itself really helps you with, because it does designate different little spots of indicating information that will be of interest, that is important to a volunteer, such as how many hours it's likely to take, whether it's an in-person or a remote opportunity. When you're creating the post itself, it'll ask you for that information specifically so that you can input it and it can be searchable by the volunteer as well. And just, of course, best practices we've found, if we will try to respond within 2 to 3 days to someone who's indicated interest. The legal assistant will set up that phone call, and we try to reach out and have that relationship set up within a week or so of when that volunteer has first indicated interest in our opportunity. And next screen, please. And this is just the last bit for our toolkit that we'd love to share out with you guys. There are some templates in there to make your life a little bit easier. If you want to invite a law firm partner who is not on the portal to join, so that they can see your opportunities as well as other opportunities that are available in California, there's a letter there that you can just take and run with. Mostly, I'm sure you'll sort of change it up a little bit to suit your organization, but most of the wording is there as to what the benefits of the portal are so that you can invite them. The same with individual attorney. Suppose someone's reached out to you looking for your opportunities, and you don't want to necessarily have to draft up something specifically for them. Please invite them to join the portal. They can take a look at your opportunities there and other opportunities all over California so that hopefully they can join someone somewhere in, serving the community. And then, of course, there's a follow-up email as well that you can use for your benefit, just so that when you do get a volunteer that you want to follow up with, you can send this template to them and hopefully keep that connection going with them. And then just another part, the last bit to this toolkit, that it includes an FAQ guide that you can share out to your volunteers. It just answers some basic question, or even if as you're talking to them, answer, some of the basic questions they might have about malpractice insurance, if they have questions about how to sign up for the portal, if they have other questions that you may not know the answer to off the top of your head. Hopefully that guide can answer it. And if not, the volunteer and yourself, please feel free to reach out to us at the portal. There's a contact us, a feedback box on the portal, as well as a link to contact us on the portal. Please feel free to let us know if you have any questions, and we will be happy to respond there. And I think that's about it for my section. And so I'm going to turn it over to Victoria.
Before I get started, Maham, could you say one more time about folks who want to have access to this toolkit? What should they do next?
Oh, thank you. If there is, uh, oh, if you're looking for to access the toolkit, uh, you will receive an email from LAAC, and Cassia, our host, can confirm this. If you will receive an email from LAAC that will where she'll send out the slides to you. If you just respond to that email and say that you're looking for the toolkit, we can forward that to you. If, in response to an email. So just respond to that email that Cassia is going to send out to you, and we'll get that to you. Thank you, Victoria.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and there's a question, sorry, I see in the chat. Is this statewide, or is it just for San Bernardino and Riverside? No, it is statewide. So the portal itself is statewide, all the opportunities. We have, gosh, something like 200 organizations that have joined the portal. And from all over California, and we also have volunteers from all over California. And I'm just going to go on a little bit of a soapbox, sorry, Victoria, but one of the great things about this portal is that it can connect volunteers from, all over California, and really some from out of state that might qualify, to legal aid organizations all over California who might need the assistance, big or small legal aid organizations who may not have the reach normally otherwise, but sort of putting it together in this format on the portal is what really allows, I think, for their opportunities to get some eyeballs on it that they wouldn't have otherwise. And thank you. Thanks, Victoria. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to address, I think, Maham, you had a comment earlier about, playing only a small part on the portal. That is totally not true. I would say the portal would not be functioning if it were not for the participation of you, of ICLS, of everyone on this call who is already registered on the portal. There is no portal without legal aid organizations posting opportunities and without volunteers to take those opportunities. So with that in mind, I'm really excited to talk about some of these enhancements. We really do have that partnership mindset. So these enhancements for Portal 2.0, sorry, I'm looking at your hearts. They are focused on partnerships that we have through the portal, or what I would call sort of quality of life updates. And I will do a demo of these updates in just a sec. But to give you a broad overview, we're really happy to announce that we have a partnership with the Pro Bono Training Institute. So I remember being in law school or even like as a baby attorney, one of the biggest things that you're fighting is the sort of imposter syndrome. So we realized that when people want to volunteer for opportunities, they might have this sort of hesitation about, am I really qualified? Do I know what this topic is about? Can I volunteer for this opportunity? So now on the portal, you can find opportunities affiliated with trainings on PBTI's website. You can go ahead and take that free training, and then you can come back and you can volunteer for that opportunity. So again, I will show you that, and that will be a two-way sync, but right now it is a one-way sync where it is on the portal. And in order to better mesh with that syncage so that you can see what courses apply to which opportunities, we have done an update to our practice areas just so that it fits a little bit better that way and that you can find those opportunities and those trainings more easily. Secondly, we also have, I think there was a question again about whether or not the impact on the portal or the opportunities on the portal are statewide. We can now better narrow down, if you are really called and very passionate about being able to serve the rural communities in California and to attend to that access to justice gap, there is a new filter in the opportunities dashboard where you can find opportunities that have that rural label on them. Or we also have our partnership with the Pro Bono Practice Program. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's through the state bar and it's for people who perhaps are retired attorneys or who, like myself, we don't practice. My license isn't really in use all the time. So for people like me, if you want to participate in the Pro Bono Practice Program, you can actually get your bar dues. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe also your CLE requirements waived if you do a certain number of hours of volunteer work with a approved legal aid organization. So if that's not perking up your ears, I don't know what will, but you can have that filter now on the opportunities dashboard to be able to find opportunities that fit with the Pro Bono Practice Program if you want to participate. We also have a My Volunteers page for legal aid organizations on this call if you want to see if those volunteers are repeat volunteers or you're like, what was Victoria's phone number again? I want to reach back out to her to see if she's interested in my new opportunity. You can go over to the left-hand side. And again, I will demo this, but under your organization's details, you can see all of the volunteers that have ever expressed interest in any of your opportunities in a handy dandy list. And then I really, you're going to see number 4 and you're like, Victoria's on her influencer, trend or something like that. But all of these opportunities or all of these enhancements that we've made to the portal were community driven and community grown. So if you are interested in keeping up to date with with the enhancements that we're making, or if you'd like to give some feedback that we could potentially use to continue to improve the portal and make it easier for you to use, we have a feedback mechanism in the portal itself. It's in the lower right-hand corner. Hopefully it's not too annoying, but it is a little pop-up there. You can chat, and that chat goes to me or to our developer, Joseph, who is not on this call. But you can give your feedback there, or you can use our LinkedIn page, and I manage that, so you can DM me through that LinkedIn page. But I will stop yapping and I will get to our demo section of this webinar now. If I can exit out of this presentation. All right, so right now you are looking at my opportunities dashboard as if I were a volunteer. And you can see kind of like searching for a home listing on Zillow, for example, all of these different filters that I can use to find the opportunity that best fits my needs or my interests. So here's that new practice areas dropdown. So I can select something that I might be interested in. And we saw from the data that Mahan was talking about at the beginning of this webinar, people are really interested or were really interested originally when they signed up for the portal in disaster relief. And maybe I want to do, let's see, a particular county, but you can see all the different counties in California. Or I can also see, and I don't know if anything's going to pop up if I hit eligible here because it narrows down every single time, but let's see. Oh, there is something. So I could volunteer with Liznick for their, let's see, in-person legal volunteers needed at their office. It looks like for an intake or hotline. And that would get me one step closer to the Pro Bono Practice Program requirements to get my bar fees waived for this year. So that's one of the new updates that we've made. Another one, I talked about the PBTI integration. So I'm going to go over to the left-hand side and go to training. And again, I can narrow down through practice areas. in, let's say, immigration. And some of these practice areas are a little bit more complex. They might have there might be an overarching topic, and I might want to look at a subtopic. And so I do have that secondary filter there where I can see, oh, okay, like I'm really interested in, I'll do U visa because that's what I started out with when I was a baby attorney. And then I can see the different trainings available. I can click in. And when I click into this open in PBTI, it's going to take me to the PBTI website, like I said. And again, those trainings are free. So people will be able to leverage that training. And I think some of them also qualify for CLE credit, as you can see over here in the description. Enroll, take that training, come back feeling more prepared, and then I can look at any of the available opportunities. So if I were to go into, I know that there are some under immigration overview. Let's click on green cards. And again, I can see those opportunities related to the training that I just took. I can take that skill that I just learned and put it into practice by volunteering for this opportunity. And then again, okay, so if I were to preview as, let's say, Maham's on this call, so why not? To find volunteers, I'm going to go into organizations, my organization, and then I will be able to see the volunteer dropdown. Maybe it's under, here we go. Actually, it's under people. Sorry about that. My volunteers, and then I can see everybody who has ever volunteered, and I can click in to any of their names to see more information about what kind of law do they do, what is their volunteer type, are they an attorney or a law student, and more contact information. And I think those were my main updates. I will happily drop the LinkedIn profile page in the chat after this or send it to Cassia to email out. But I think now it's time to talk about what we're working on and what's coming up next. So I'm going to start presenting and hopefully not lose you all. Okay. So I know that AB 2505 is now here. People might be concerned about being able to track their pro bono hours. So we are working on a dashboard that will be contained in the portal. So right now, if you are a volunteer, you can log your hours under the opportunities you've expressed interest in. But having a more tailored experience, you can see your hours over time as opposed to scattered by the different opportunities that you volunteered with. In the dashboard, not only will you be able to see the hours over time or for this year that you've already logged for pro bono opportunities, but you'll be also able to see, oh, I've expressed interest in this opportunity. Have they reached back out to me yet? Or maybe it's currently pending, as in I need to go and actually do the volunteer work, but they've already set up the stage for me, maybe using Maham's templates and that toolkit to onboard me. Like I mentioned earlier, there will also be more of a two-way sync from the PBTI website. So I'm actually going to click this link and show you what it's going to look like. So I can see all of the disaster relief courses on the PBTI website already. And then if I scroll down, I should be able to see, okay, I get this notification that there are no volunteer opportunities for this category, and then I'll check back soon. But there will be listings of any opportunities that are currently available for that course. So that's what we're currently working on. And then can I go back? The other thing that we're working on is a help center. So I know that, for those of you who may not be super passionate about tech like I am, it might be a lot of bells and whistles to get through for navigating the portal. We want to make sure that we're giving you the support that you need, but not in a intrusive way. I'm thinking of like Clippy from Microsoft Word way back in the day. You don't want to be annoyed by this little pop-up in the corner that asks you if you need help. So we're going to integrate this into the portal in sort of chunks, but I'm going to show you one of these tutorials, and what they'll look like is this way for you to click through in a guided way through how to use a portal. So this one is going to go through how to edit an opportunity that you may have posted as a legal aid organization, and you can see it's prompting me to click on the appropriate things. So here are all of my opportunities, and I can click through and hit next. I can sort them by the status, like are they published, are they pending, that kind of thing. I can also look at them through deadlines because, we're a deadline-focused society now. Clicking on this. And then I can click into an opportunity that I want to edit. And again, it's walking me through all these different buttons that I'm going to click on in order to do that, or the different options that I have to edit. For example, the deadline for volunteers to express interest. I can change that, or I can X out any of the things that I've initially put into the opportunity. For example, whether or not the opportunity is pro bono practice program eligible. And I can select that it is. I can also enter in text for what type of expertise is required. So I'm selecting the text here and I'm going to type in, it's telling me to type in family law experience required. Hit save. And then when I click on opportunity info, I'm able to see, you can see my little keyboard smash of edits that I made there, but those are what the tutorials are going to look like. Okay. And then I don't know if this is actually full screen for you all. Is this full screen or are we good? Oh, you're still muted, Maham.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I can see your board down the side, but it is pretty clear as to the the main screen as well.
Okay, as long as it's clear to folks. But these are some of the features that we are looking forward. So we're currently on, I would say, Portal 2.0, but we're always wanting to push it forward and keep on improving for you all. So for Portal 3.0, some of the features that we're considering implementing are, like Maham highlighted, more of a process to onboard folks onto the portal and walk them through how to use it. So we're calling it sort of the volunteer success or the organization onboarding program. And that would be more one-on-one meetings to really narrow down how this can be implemented into your daily pro bono workflows. The other feature that we're thinking about is the events calendar, if that would be of interest to folks, where you could see all in the same page any scheduled live trainings, or maybe there's a clinic that's happening on the first of every month and you want to be able to see that on a calendar. Another item is a saved search. So you saw when I pulled up the portal, there are those filters up at the top. You could potentially set your own filters. Maybe it's I'm interested in clinics that are remote based only and that are probably going to be under 5 hours worth of a time commitment for me. I can save that search and then get an email notification whenever somebody posts an opportunity that fits those criteria. Another option would be something similar where the portal would be able to recommend to you, hey, I see that you've volunteered or expressed interest for this particular opportunity. Here is something similar. Kind of like when you go onto Netflix, for example, and it says, here are the TV shows that are recommended for you. It would be something like, here are the pro bono opportunities recommended for you based on your previous expressions of interest. And last but certainly not least, I know that a lot of folks are a fan of a newsletter style way of emailing out potential opportunities. Maybe you're pro bono counsel at a law firm and you want to sort of curate your list for folks at your law firm to be able to see opportunities that would fit their skills and interests, to be able to create that list and then easily send it out. So I think Cassia put in a poll into this Zoom webinar, and then you'll be able to vote on which of these features you'd like to see us focus on next.
And while people are doing that, I just wanted to confirm with the save searches function, that would be something that um, that also like pro bono counsel would be able to do for their maybe the attorneys that work at their law firm. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think we're going to give it a couple of minutes for the votes to roll in. Looks like a lot of interest for the events calendar and then also for the mailing list, which is very similar to the save searches. No love for the algorithm, I guess. Do we want to give it a few more minutes, Mom?
I think we have probably it looks like most of the people participating, so we could go ahead and end it.
Yeah, so it says that, let's see, pretty even split between the events calendar and the opportunity mailing list. And then some people are interested in the volunteer success and organization onboarding program. And if there's a feature on here that you're kind of like, I'm not interested in any of these, I would rather have something else, please let us know. It's not sort of a one or the other situation. We will eventually implement all of these things if there is interest in them. But in terms of prioritizing what does 2026 and 2027 look like for our development cycles, it would be good to know any of those things. And then if you're not on the portal already, this is a URL where you can check it out. You can see our FAQs and you can register. And is there anything else that I'm missing in terms of what we should be telling folks if they head to this website, Maha?
No, I think that's about it. And yeah, I think that's about it. In fact, before we turn it back to Kasia, just wondering if there were any questions. I think you can throw it into the chat, or uh, maybe we can take people off mute if they would like to ask a question, or if they have any ideas of what they would like to see on our wish list as to what we wish we should work on next. We'd love to hear that feedback.
I think there were some questions in the Q&A, but they were mostly about getting access to the toolkits, and then also if this is a statewide portal, which yes, it is. We also have a meeting at the first of Friday, I believe it is, of every month, where we go over some of the data that we're collecting from the portal, any sort of feedback requests, or any ideas of how you'd like to see Portal 3.0 or even Portal 4.0 or into the future. Um, if you are interested in attending those, please feel free to reach out. We would love to hear from you. And we loved the different perspectives.
All right. I think I'll turn it over to Kasia.
Thank you so much for our presenters for that wonderful presentation. And thanks to the folks who pointed out that I was putting the wrong link to the newsletter in the chat. I'll put the correct one again in there now. And yes, we will be sending out a link to the recording that you can forward to any of your colleagues or friends who might be interested. And if you want to reply to that email asking for the other materials, then please do so, the toolkit, and we will send that out to you. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining.